Be ready. 15 seconds to go. 5 seconds to go. Sir, I come to another provision. In the statement of objects and reasons, one of the objects mentioned is reducing unnecessary cost or burden by requiring companies to attach only an abridged form of prospectus to the application form. I would like to know specifically from the Honorable Minister which section of companies has represented that the cost of printing the balance sheet is prohibitive and they want to reduce it. I submit that in the annual report as presented today, there is a whole section dealing with listing of employees getting salaries of over rupees 3000, and I find that over the years this figure of 3000 is not increased. In this amending bill, there is some provision resulting in large companies having thousands of such employees, and they are listing those employees, which itself takes up 30 or 40 pages of the balance sheet. Merely deleting that provision can bring down the cost of printing, and that will not affect the small investors in any way. Instead of doing that, they have taken powers now, suggest that it should be deleted altogether. A small shareholder is not interested in who is employed and what salary he is getting. He is only interested in knowing whether a director's relative has been employed, and that was the original purpose. This was inserted in the 60s when it was found that the wives or relatives of the managing directors of companies were appointed on high salaries. So, a provision was inserted. At that time, 3000 rupees was a very high salary. It was said that with regard to people drawing above 3000 rupees, details should be given. Today, the law should be amended to the effect that if the director's relatives or those connected with the companies are employed by the company, details should be given. Probably after this provision, nobody's relative will be employed because it will come to the adverse notice of the government. But abridging the whole balance sheet to reduce costs is not good. We are seeing larger corporations, instead of just giving information as required by the Companies Act, printing fancy balance sheets, color photographs, offset printing, etc. Certainly, they are not worried about the cost. It is a strange thing that the government is worried about reducing the cost unless we are talking about the balance sheets of the public sector companies, which is a different matter. As you are aware, 70% of the population of the country reside in villages. The biggest industry that we have got is agriculture, and nobody can deny the fact that the return for agricultural produce has certainly increased, which has resulted in an increased purchasing power in the rural areas and which is now being spent on higher consumption. It is for the purpose of retaining consumption of food grains that I am suggesting that we must take every effort to remove that surplus purchasing power for the benefit of society as a whole. We may get market loans to the extent that we desire, but our only hope of increasing the rate of development in this country lies in our success of small savings, because unless we intensify our efforts in mobilizing the resources lying in the rural sector, that saving is likely to be dissipated. I would therefore urge upon the finance minister to intensify his efforts and step up our target for small savings. Now, I will come to the question of taxation. The finance minister has made proposals for raising a further revenue of rupees 23 crores only, even though on current account there is a deficit of rupees 82 crores. He has not thought it wise to raise the entire amount by taxation. In that direction, he has adopted the wisest course, because the level of taxation that we have now reached is of such a nature that it may be that further raising of resources by taxation may hamper production, because the task of the finance minister is to evolve such a system of taxation that it does not hamper production but in a way proves as an incentive. Now, for that purpose, let me take the case regarding his proposals for direct taxation. I will make a reference to the taxation on companies. The finance minister has been assailed on both sides. Neither my friends sitting opposite nor the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry are satisfied. This very fact shows that the proposal of the finance minister is in the right direction. Those friends who opposed the withdrawal of the wealth tax on companies did not care to study the speech of the finance minister, if they had devoted certain time and attention and had the patience, they would have found in the budget speech itself that what he proposed was only absorbing the wealth tax on companies and the tax on excess dividend in his new proposals of taxing the companies